If you're watching this video, you are probably extremely familiar with the Mazda MX-5 Miata. With the exception of one turbocharged version 20 years ago, the Miata has always been the exact same thing. A small, lightweight, 50-50 weight distribution, rear-wheel drive car with a naturally aspirated inline-4 and the choice of a manual transmission. But the car market is changing. Everything is going toward electrification, and the Miata cannot outrun the future forever. Mazda has already said the next Miata will have some form of electrification, leaving us all to wonder, will it still be a Miata? Will it still be fun? Will anyone even care? This is the 2024 Mazda Miata ND3 Club, and I'm Alanis King. We have already done a full review of almost this exact vehicle. So today, we figured it would be fun to just go for a drive and talk about the past, present, and future of the Miata, while showing y'all the behind the scenes of how we make one of these videos. So, hop in, let's go. The Mazda MX-5 Miata has always been the perfect car. It's beautiful, it's easy yet rewarding to drive and do maintenance on, it's small, it's light, it's got a stunning silhouette, even if the current design is 10 years old. Every tap of the gas, clunk of the gear shifter, and release of the clutch pedal is a joy. For 35 years and 4 generations of the car, the Miata's entire charm has been that it never truly had to change. It just had to incrementally improve upon itself. But legislation and the car market are about to force it to change, maybe big time. We're currently driving to one of our 2 filming spots locally. This one that we're going to is an abandoned hospital that became a school that then became an abandoned school. So no one is over there, and it's this really quiet, tree-lined place that looks super pretty, and I love it, and I hope it doesn't get developed ever. But the ride over there is such a joy in this Miata. Every single time I drive a Miata, I am just like, wow, what a perfect formula. When I am giving it gas right now to put it in first gear, it is such a smooth application. The clutch catch point is exactly where it should be. The clunk of the gear shifter is just right. And also, you rest your hand on the gear shifter and you can just feel it shaking like that. It's the perfect visceral experience. I don't care what people say about power and everything like that. The Miata has enough power, and it is so wonderful to drive. The driving dynamics are just the best, and that's why I own 2 of them, and I drive these cars all the time because they're absolutely wonderful, except for the fact that you can't see over your shoulder when you try to switch lanes. It's just amazing to take this car through a twisty road and feel how great that 50-50 weight distribution is. I love this little guy. The Mazda Miata debuted in 1989. Mazda held a design competition to determine what the layout of the car would be. And the US design team won out with a front-engine, rear-wheel drive mock-up. Mazda called the car the Miata, which means reward. And the Miata has been through 4 generations since. The NA, NB, NC, and ND. The next car is supposed to be called the NE, which would actually work really well if it has some form of electrification to it. The NA Miata debuted with a 1.6-liter, 116 horsepower inline 4-cylinder engine, and it had a roughly 2,200-pound curb weight with a 50-50 weight distribution. My husband is over here taking photos and B-roll of our loaner Miata, which is perfect timing because he owns 2 second-generation Mazdaspeed Miatas with me. The second-generation Miata is called the NB, and it was around from 1999 to 2005. It got rid of the cute little pop-up headlights from the NA and replaced them with ovular ones, and the styling of the car still looks so beautiful today. The 1999 car had 140 horsepower, and the Mazdaspeeds we have 178. They are the first and only turbocharged Miata from the factory to this day. The NC Miata debuted in 2006, and it stayed on the market for a decade. And you know, people really did not like this car. They called it a boat, and overweight, and a hairdresser's car, and girly. And I disagree. I really like that car. I think it looks great in club racer styling. And also, people always come around to the cars they hated. Look at the whole world thinking the PT Cruiser is actually kind of interesting now. The ND Miata debuted in 2016 with 155 horsepower at 6,000 RPM from a 2-liter Sky Active engine. It had a 6-speed automatic transmission or a 6-speed manual, and this car would actually become known as the ND1 because a lot of different NDs would come out after it. The first after that was the ND2, and the ND2 was the major jump with the ND Miata. We switched from 155 horsepower to 181. It was a massive, massive power jump, and it also got some refinement features in there that just made it slightly better than that ND1. We're now on the ND3, which is what we have right there, and it has really small changes. There's less friction in the steering, there are tweaks to the differential to just make it an overall better driving experience. And it always is. I love Miatas. The future of the car industry is electrification, and Mazda has said as much even about the Miata. And our new channel partner Magna has all kinds of really cool hybrid technology that we got to learn about recently. So I want to take you through one of those pieces of tech. Magna has an array of hybrid vehicle tech, including their hybrid dual-clutch transmission. The transmission uses torque splitting to take advantage of the ideal efficiencies of both the combustion engine and the e-motor. Magna has several versions of this transmission, offering from 230 to 400 Newton-meters of torque. We actually test drove a vehicle with this 48-volt mild hybrid dual-clutch transmission on a recent trip to Michigan, and the performance was so good. It was incredible. It blended that smooth, electric, fast, low-end acceleration of an EV with the feeling and emotion of a gas car. I just kept doing acceleration runs because it was honestly so fun. I really do think this type of hybrid dual-clutch transmission can be the future of a lot of performance cars because it is so much fun to drive. We're so happy to partner with Magna on this channel, and we want to teach y'all a lot of the stuff they do in the future. So, thanks for watching. Now that we're done filming B-roll, let's head to the one good road where I live and film our driving segments. You'll notice they all look like the same road because there's only one of them. When we went to California to drive the ND3 Miata earlier this year, Mazda invited Tom Matano, the designer of the original Miata, to come have dinner with us. And Tom didn't have to do this. This was not a work event for him. This was a fun event for him. And he just loves meeting car people and Miata people. We became friends, and I talk to Tom all the time now. We talk about cars and art and Formula One and everything like that. But that original day we met, he said, I want to send you something to read on the plane back. So I gave him my email, and he sent me an email with a bunch of PDFs of his original plans for the Miata. He had all of these visions, and it was so cool to read this paper he literally wrote in 1986 with his plans for the Miata, and see that literally all of that came true except for a couple of things. And the couple of things that didn't come true absolutely should have. We have now made it to the road where we film all of our drive-by shots. So I'm gonna let my husband out of the car. He's gonna film me ripping by, and it's gonna look great. Back to the Miata. Tom Matano wanted this car to be a center for bonding, for grassroots racing, for all kinds of stuff that it absolutely became. He wanted it to be the center of car clubs and people's passions, especially in America, because he found that people in America really bonded over their individual interests and created little social clubs around that. So that's what he wanted the Miata to be, and that's exactly what it became. Tom was also very, very keen on making sure that the Miata never holistically changed from what it was. He wanted the Miata to remain that original lightweight 50-50 weight distribution roadster and just get slightly better over the years, never just holistically change its identity, because it didn't need to. It was a fantastic car from the start. So you'll see right now, I'm just doing a like 3-point turn, because what we're doing right now is drive-bys. When you see in my reviews that I go ripping by, basically, that is me ripping for a couple of seconds while my husband films it, and then slowing down and turning around and ripping again. So you'll see in just a second, I'm gonna rip by, and he's gonna be right here on the side of the road. Check him out. But it's important now, while we're doing these drive-bys, to also talk about how the ethos of the Miata fits into the current state of the car market. The current car market is trending toward electrification and practical vehicles and hybridization. And the ethos of the Miata isn't really that. So in order to fit into that, what can you do? We don't really know yet. Mazda has said the next Miata will have some sort of electrification. We don't know if that will be a full hybrid, if it'll be a mild hybrid, if they'll just have small electrical systems. We're not sure. There's currently a Porsche 911 hybrid, and people love it. Hybrids are actually great for sports cars and supercars. But the trick is that this isn't just a sports car or a supercar. It's a Miata, and a Miata has a very specific definition. So we don't know what an electrified Miata will look like. But I'm kind of excited to see. And I'm excited to rip right now. Oh, this car is so fun. And I really do think the next Miata will be fun too. I just really hope it's fun in a Miata way. With all the new safety and emissions regulations, how do you make a sports car? Euro 7 emissions will come into effect on July 1st, 2025, and Mazda has already discontinued the 2-liter Miata engine in European markets. The next generation Miata will likely have a smaller displacement engine, but will it be turbocharged? What kind of electrification will it have? And how many pounds will it add to our beloved featherweight convertible? The biggest question in all of this is, will the next Miata fit the ethos of the Miata? And how will it do that? Or, on the other hand, will the ND3 be the last true Miata you can buy? I don't know how Mazda will design or engineer the next Miata, but I honestly think the company will do it right. Mazda doesn't have to make a Miata. It's not a sales leader. It's just a fun car that makes the rest of the lineup look fun too. And for 35 years, Mazda has kept the exact same ethos when it comes to the Miata. Slightly improve it, don't revolutionarily change it, and just make this package really, really good. It doesn't serve Mazda to introduce a new Miata with the Miata name that betrays that. It doesn't make any sense from a sales perspective or a brand perspective. So I do think the next Miata will be evolutionary, not revolutionary. And that's exactly what we want.